to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports Sleeper Picks. We got Brad, Brian, Josh. We got a lot to do. Bradley Beal trade, NBA draft, NBA trade rumors. We got a bunch of baseball. So let's get right into it, boys. What's going on?
Another day, another dollar.
Yeah, it's been. I think I haven't been on since like Wednesday, so it's nice to be back. It's
You were in Bachelorette land.
yeah. I was just doing some stuff. It was a fun weekend. I actually I was free one day and I was gonna watch the show and I forgot there was like an hour difference and I went to put it on. And I was like, oh yeah, right. I already missed it. So
That's where you were at. Yeah, those pictures of you would probably indicate that you weren't in the best headspace to be like focused on sports.
yeah. Well, I was just
that's
telling Brad, I took a break from like mostly betting or posting my channel or anything because if I don't have the time to research and give out well thought out angles or bets, I'm not gonna half-ass it and still try to like put something out being like, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we'll start with the Beal trade. It came down Sunday. The Suns basically get him for nothing. I mean, I know you're going to have to pay him a lot. You swap a 39-year-old Chris Paul for a 30-year-old Beal. Look, he's not a perfect player. He's hurt a lot. He's not a great player, but you're going to put him as a third option. I get it. I don't think it makes them the favorite. I'm curious what you guys think.
I agree. I don't think they're favorite. I don't think they're better than Denver. I think it's a pretty similar situation to when they faced them last time, and we'll see if there's any more to come with Ayton and the like. But this is their team now. Like this is it. And if you think Bradley Beal is enough to get past the Nuggets, then fine. But they went from 800 plus 800 to win the title plus 650 now. Not even that big of a jump with a guy like Bradley Beal coming to the team, and then to win the West, they're at plus 350. I just really want to see what happens with Bruce Brown, to be honest. I want to know if he's going to come back for take some kind of pay cut for this team and play for like $7.5–10 million instead of somewhere up north of 15, probably. I don't know why he would, but if he does, then I would continue to feel good about Denver. And if he doesn't, maybe you get a little bit better juice on Denver at that point. But like, I just don't think that this trade makes them the favorite over like Denver for sure, and maybe a couple other teams in the East.
I don't think so either. It does make them better. Like the people who are crying and saying that it makes them worse are like either Denver Nuggets fans who are afraid, or they're just being hyperbolic. Like there's no way you add a guy like Bradley Beal like and say you're going to get worse, especially when you have 3 scoring options there. And we've seen Bradley Beal play the facilitator role much more this season when he was coming back from injury, so he can do it. And people are saying like I hate using the phrase people are saying, but all we do is we consume sports media, and they're worried about Chris Paul leaving. Like Chris Paul himself was a defensive liability and not an offensive threat. So when they would double team Booker or they would double team Durant, they would let Chris Paul be the guy to take that shot. And I mean, if you're the Nuggets, yeah, go ahead and try and beat me, Chris Paul. But you can't say that with a Bradley Beal. It's not like go and try and beat me, Bradley Beal, because he can get his own buckets. They do need to do a little bit more, make a little bit more moves, like we said before. Like this is just step one. I did like them getting Isaiah Todd in that trade, though.
Yeah, I just think if you're go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna say, Josh mentioned what, like 6-1 or 6-1, whatever it was. Last time I was on the show, we talked about it, and I said, you know, it might be worth like what they were 9-1 on DraftKings. I was like, I don't know if they're gonna be better this route, but they were the team I thought had the most potential to make a big move or this or that, and I still didn't bet it at all. So like, I not that I believe that like this puts them well over the edge, but my whole purpose was, oh, they're 9-1. I think they're gonna make some moves. You could probably get a good price for them now, and I still just didn't bet it at all. So I don't know if you guys have ever done that, where you say something, you're like, yeah, like I think the value could be there if they make a big move, and then your phone goes off and it's like, oh, Bradley Beal to the Suns, and I was like, didn't do that. Like, so
yeah.
definitely.
I think the two opposing forces that were kind of like guiding you in opposite directions was like, one, this is a new owner that's just already given the middle finger to the new cap and the new way that things are working in the NBA these days. Basically, you know, there's the whole thing with aprons, et cetera. You can look it up. It's kind of boring if you want to talk about it here, but most importantly, like you get taxed out your ass if you go ahead and get above a certain tier of money on your payroll, and they are above that, and he doesn't care. The opposing force that would tell you to bet on it is that like, you know, them making a trade was based on a new owner coming in and just wanting to show, you know, and swing it around and kind of say like, I'm here to win and I'm going to get big names in the door and we're going to put butts in the seats and things like that. So I do think, you know, they'll continue to try to do that and not care that they're spending that kind of money. And so you kind of just, what you do with that is fine. It's not going to get any better necessarily in terms of the odds, right? Like unless Denver something falls apart or there's an injury or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have bet it 9-1 if it was available.
I just think that was like my main thing was that if it was available now, I
You want me
probably
to book
would
you? I'll
take
book you 9-1. I'll book you. How much do you want?
We'll talk later.
Oh,
See,
talk now. Come on.
I'd have to think about that
All
because
right.
you ever know like you ever like it's one of those things where you talk about value over actually thinking about it. Like at 9-1, it's like, do I think they have what it's good, like you said, to get past Denver? No, but I would have probably liked it a little bit more if I had it. Now that the price is down to like 6-1, 7-1, some places.
It's kind of like I think your logic is kind of like betting golf outrights, right?
Yeah.
Like if you look at a golf board and you see a guy like, I don't know, Ricky Fowler, that's a bad example. Let's go Wyndham Clark. He just won. A guy Wyndham Clark who has better odds than a guy like Cam Young who hasn't won. So you're more likely to bet on a Wyndham Clark than you are a Cam Young, because do you believe that Wyndham Clark's going to win another tournament? Probably not, but the value compared to the other selections is there.
Yeah, it's fair. It's obviously you're not getting the juice on a golf bet too, right? So you kind of hold back thinking. I think one thing to consider though is like we now know like the NBA playoffs are a different season. There's 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen when that's if Phoenix can cross the finish line healthy? They're probably not going to be 9-1 by the time they get to, I don't know, the second round, maybe probably not even before the first round starts, depending on how awful their regular season goes. But if you think that once that season starts, you like your bet with the Suns at 9-1 at that point, then you're good. But I mean, Will, what do you think about that with a future when you're waiting this long to see how a 9-1 bet looks and you have to wait 82 games in 6 months?
Yeah, there is certainly a practical aspect, especially if you're posting up and you're paying up front, which a lot of people are doing. But if you can bet on credit, which some people still do, I think it's different. Like, am I dying to bet him at plus 650? Was I dying to bet him at 9-1? No, you're probably going to get, if not the same price, a similar price, some point during the season, during the playoffs. Like, all right, you lose a little value and it goes to 5-1. Like, you could probably bet him 5-1, 6-1 next May. Like, you don't get hero points for being early. This isn't like 100-1 that's going to move to 20-1. So I think it was a move they had to do. I mean, you get better. All it costs you is money. Again, what were their other options? Just run it back with the same team. That wasn't a great option either.
No.
So I get it. I get it. Beal, and I think Beal might be getting a little underrated now. He's so overpaid that everyone's like, oh, he's overrated. You know, he hasn't just shot the
people
three.
He's like actually really talented.
Especially as a third option. I mean, you're gonna get you're gonna get good looks. You're gonna get open shots. I think he's gonna say, you know what, I've lost my whole career. Now I'm on a winning environment. Play a little harder defensively. Maybe play a little more basketball just in general. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. And look, at the end of the day, if you're gonna make the case for Phoenix, they were the only team to beat Denver twice in the playoffs. I mean, they had them 2-2. You know, maybe if Paul doesn't get hurt in that game too, they win, which is part of the deal with Paul. So
I was gonna say that was what I was gonna say. Is Josh just kind of touched on it? Where it's like almost 2 seasons. The Suns, like not saying not saying it's all on this, but the last 2 times the Suns have had a chance to make a real run, not necessarily this year, but like the year before, and like when they're up 2-0 in the finals, like 3 years ago. It's like Chris Paul has not finished that second season with this team. So if you imagine like, oh, you have 2 separate seasons. If you just have this team play a full first season and then be healthy for that second season in the same season, that goes a long way rather than having to figure out rotations and new lineups because you have your, point guard that's supposed to be your $40 million, court leader kind of not playing in those second seasons.
Yeah.
Where do you guys think Paul plays next year?
Oof.
Yeah, I was looking at some of that.
The thing that Clippers.
No, stop. We're not talking about the Clippers. No, the Clippers are gonna
get your future tickets in now for the Clippers.
Yeah, no. They have a bottomless pit of money as well. They're basically the Saudis of the NBA. But the thing that would have been way more fun is if this came out when like there were win totals, because I don't know what we're supposed to do with the championship bet just because of one play.
Right.
But like when these win totals come out, it's going to be really interesting, and there's going to be some things to consider. Like just because a team has Devin Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal doesn't mean that they're going to all play anywhere near 80 games, right?
Yeah.
And so if you want to take an over under around like if it gets up to like 58, 59.5, I mean Denver.
I don't think it would be
90, maybe not anymore. Maybe the odds makers are ready for the fact that like last year
for Washington, you mean, or
55? Yeah, but I mean, is Denver around that number, or do you think they're
no? What did they win last year? I think they're going to bake in the fact that you're going to take some games off, especially after a championship. And the thing with Phoenix, they're obviously those 3 guys are not going to play every night all together. We know how the NBA works, but at least you're going to have 2 of the 3 most of the time, as long as they're healthy. Which 2 of the 3 is healthy. Like Durant can rest, and they're not going to just go in the tank. Yeah. You have Booker and you have Beal. If Booker rests, you have Durant, you have Beal. So always having 2 out of the 3 basically on the court, I do think is a benefit. So it'd be interesting. Would you be looking to go over or under?
with Phoenix.
Yeah.
It depends. Like if we get to like 55, 56 and a
I'll
half,
say
I'm
56
going
and a half is probably a good number.
I would go under.
Okay.
I would go under with
Has
with
one
that.
person
56 and a
answered my
half.
question
What?
about where do you guys think Paul's gonna be? No, not one
Yeah.
person answered. No, like
Yeah.
guys
Wait,
said-
I said the Clippers.
Okay.
I
said
did
the
say the
Clippers.
Clippers. My friends actually was funny because I was on the trip with him. He like roots for Washington teams, and he's like, I like Chris Paul. I'm like, do you realize you're not keeping Chris Paul, right? Like I was like, Chris Paul is not at the point where he's gonna start fresh with a building team.
No,
Like,
Yeah.
we didn't think he was going to do it with the Thunder, and he did it, but that was also
It was
like
different.
another 4 years ago. So
Yeah.
even older now.
Yeah.
But like
Where
Miami,
does he go?
Miami, so Miami might make a play for Dame, and like Dame, Jimmy, and Bam's kind of terrifying. If Jimmy takes some plays off on
good
offense
team.
and Dame Lillard is the point guard, like that's terrifying. But
Long,
like,
defensive, and can score.
yeah. So if Dame can get there, then probably not Chris Paul. And then, I mean, I have to look at it like Milwaukee makes sense. I don't know that they're bringing Drew Holiday back. Seems to be the scuttlebutt there. So like those places that are already, already there with the championship, even Boston, but I think that's just hopefulness on the part of Boston fans. Like, I think realistically, Miami would be the number one spot. Like, it's such a perfect place to play 20 to 25 minutes a night, take off 20, 25 games, not really
Yeah.
care until you get to the playoffs. Keep Chris Paul essentially on the shelf until the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah.
That makes
and they're famous for
yeah.
getting guys in good shape, getting the most out of them physically. Brian,
Yeah.
you
Already
want
a
to
vegan.
answer the question?
yeah, I was just Brad kind of made the joke, but I see a lot of things talking about the Clippers as well.
Yeah.
But that, I
Just
guess
another
you
guy who
have the
doesn't play a lot of
whole.
basketball.
I just don't
Yeah.
think they want to do that in LA.
Yeah.
Like I just
I
they,
think you should
they
go to the
already have a
Lakers,
team that
make
is
sure
so-
everyone's 40 years or older for the Lakers, and
I'll
just
say
run it
Lakers
back.
too. I'll say Lakers too.
Really?
Yeah.
Lakers make sense. When I think about the Clippers, I just think of like how many times they had to play different rotations, different starting lineups. I think they're kind of over that kind of
Man, I'll be
situation
honest.
there.
If Chris Paul goes to the Clippers, I'm gonna have to block Will's number because he is gonna be adamant every 2 days with the injury reports if they're gonna have to low manage their 3 starting
Yeah.
Even
1 to
even in
3.
LA, even for the
Even with
Lakers.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do think I wouldn't trade for Paul, but if I can get him on a veterans minimum, I think, you know what, like you said, you put him on the shelf for a little bit. You just
Yeah.
use him more as a relief pitcher than a starting pitcher. You just use him to close games.
Then wait for the playoffs
and
and
then wait for the playoffs. Yeah. I
playoff
think
leadership
those-
would be
Yeah,
nice.
that would
he's
fit.
plus 200 to go to the Clippers.
Oh, give us those
What's-
odds. I don't
yeah.
have
Yeah, what are the
player
odds?
here in
I just
Connecticut.
looked it up. These aren't official odds, but like I don't know if you guys I have the bookies.com. They have a newsletter and they have like the odds. So plus 200 for Clippers, 250 for Lakers, 350 for Wizards, which is so stupid. I don't think he's gonna go Lakers.
What is the exact phrasing? Where does he play game one?
Yeah, is
That's
playing
not impossible.
for
He
in the
plays.
fall.
It's not
Yeah.
impossible. He starts there and they try to trade something for him.
That's
Like,
fair.
what
The
are they
field
in a
is
rush
8 to
for?
1. The field's 8 to 1.
After all those
So,
bets.
so
So-
Spurs and Rockets are the last 2 listed.
Celtics,
Yeah, I'd
Bucks,
probably
none of those are listed.
I take the field.
Yeah, the
I would
field.
take the field.
Yeah,
8 to 1.
8-1.
The
Yeah,
field
yeah.
includes Miami, you said,
Yeah.
yeah.
and it includes Boston, Milwaukee. I would take the
Milwaukee.
field.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
take the field.
this is also just the email I got this morning. So at the 20th, yeah. So
Probably super small
see
limits
what I
too,
have.
but just for
Yeah.
sake of conversation.
so
I
also
would
not
take
many
the
books
field.
offer this market too. So it's very
Right.
strange.
Did you guys look at any NBA draft stuff on Thursday? It's obviously like a much smaller market than
I can tell you who's
NFL.
This
going
year's
one.
this year's NBA draft is a lot different. I don't know why it feels so much different. Like I feel like last year was pretty predictable.
It was. I mean,
well,
you remember there was
that's
that-
also-
No,
that's
Powell
all-
was 20-1 to go first. A few
That's
days
also
before
because I
draft.
had
It wasn't
that the inside track on the Magic stuff because I was literally doing all the Magic stuff backstage. So like I guess it felt way more predictable for me because I'm talking
Yeah.
to the actual people who are making the decision.
everybody else was saying Jabari Smith to Orlando, and
Well,
then
Paolo
that
said he
never
didn't know
got-
until they picked him, and then there's other
Right.
people like, "Oh, we definitely knew." So there's
They knew.
definitely a story back there somewhere. Yes,
It's so
Some
much. I
people
feel like it's
knew.
harder with the NBA to like see which way these GMs and people or PR people are spinning things publicly to mislead teams, not even really mislead us obviously, but like the betting market gets weird. Obviously we know who's number 1, and now it's really like 2 and 3. Which order are Scoot and Brandon Miller going? Which could be impacted by, are the Portland Trailblazers keeping that pick? Is someone trying to legitimately trade into number 2 for to take Charlotte's pick and get Scoot? Or
I would take
I would imagine.
Brandon Miller at plus 175 to go second.
Yeah, because
I
Charlotte
have a
said that.
feeling it's going Scoot. Now we should probably do this all at once because I think Dame, Zion, and the second and third picks are all sort of intertwined. Dame certainly
are.
is. Miller was a favorite to go 2. He is now it is now Scoot to go to. And again, I have no information. I'm just reading the room. I get the sense that Scoot, with his character, his work ethic, his explosion, he's clean. He's not like Miller, who's got the issues. I have the feeling it's Scoot going to. Why do you think it's Miller, Brad?
I think it's a better fit for the team. I've been in the weeds on this with the Scoot Henderson stuff, reading these scouts talk about they're afraid that his 3-point shooting will never get there. I think they want to pair a guy who could take over the game with their shooting next to LaMelo, not a Scoot, a guy who's going to be explosive on the ball a lot, takes away a lot of what LaMelo does great.
Now, I don't know that they're in the position where they can worry about fit. I think they're so bad, they just got to get the best player. And there's rumors they're going to trade the pick. I don't know if they would trade it for Zion. So, I mean, I don't know. I just tend
I
to
would
think
trade the pick.
I don't think Zion
I would trade the pick.
I don't think he's available. I don't think he's on the block like that anymore.
No.
I think, like, people were putting that out there, and maybe
Bill,
there was conversation.
Just to jump in and clarify, Bill Simmons
Yeah.
said he heard reliably that he will be traded before Thursday, around Thursday. I forget how
That's
he
right.
phrased it, but that
He
he will
did
be
say that.
traded for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, he said someone within the organization said he'll be on a different team by Thursday, and
Yeah.
that could be wildly interesting. But like, that does lead you to go putting money on Scoot while it's not the value play. You have increased odds likeliness that he would go second, because if someone trades into 2,
Yes,
they're doing
trading
it
for Scoot.
They're not doing it for Brandon Miller. So that's where you also get a little bit of extra like relief in that sense.
And the other reason I don't think it's Miller too, they had all the things. The Hornets had all those things with Bridges and the domestic dispute. Do they want, from a PR standpoint? All right, we have Bridges, who got suspended for 50 something games for domestic violence. Now we're going to bring in Brandon Miller, who was associated. Like, of course, he was cleared. He played the season, but are you going to bring in another like sort of PR nightmare? It's new ownership. It's a fresh start. Are you really going to go that direction? My sense is it's Scoot.
So the only thing too is like the Charlotte GM has said, or owner has said, that they prefer Brandon Miller. Do we just assume that he's lying the way that Orlando
Who is the owner?
The new dude who bought the team from MJ. I don't have his name.
What was the exact quote? Because I really.
But yeah, there was the Yahoo article that I read yesterday. I can bring it up again, but the exact quote was essentially that he said that the team prefers Scoot or Brandon Miller. And that he makes the most sense there. And
he had a second workout with him too. So
yeah. Here I actually have the thing up right now. Yeah. They said the Hornets are they're open to trading it for guys like Zion, but that was taken off the table. And yeah, basically like the for a second, when they brought him in for a second workout, the dude who the new owner said he prefers Brandon Miller. That
where's that quote? Like, well, I'm not seeing it.
This is in the Yahoo article. Hold on. I'll keep reading it and get
because the market has moved away from that, which I mean, if he's going to be that obvious about it, I don't know.
But I also think like a lot of that market for the NBA draft is like, we're seeing all these Scoot Henderson workout videos. Like that sways the market a lot. And like, you haven't seen one Brandon Miller workout video. It's like, oh my God, look at Scoot Henderson training with Steph Curry. Or look at this explosiveness. Brandon Miller's not going to have that, like that kind of buzz, that kind of move the needle.
To Will's
point, I don't think he's that kind of player.
Well, if they do
get
go
the PR angle,
if they go with Miller, I would feel bad for the PR angle too, just because they've already had to put up with like the Lamar Ball thing. Then they have this, and then they get a new owner. That PR team will be having a lot of sleepless nights trying to make sure everything's up to a T. There.
Let's be serious though. Teams don't really draft based on PR if they think one guy is a better fit or will be better for them long term.
No, but if
if they think Brandon Miller, if it's tied, that's so like I don't really buy the PR thing for like when you're taking a chance at whatever guy you think is gonna be generational.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a couple things. I'm reading the market. Which look, when you're this late in the process and you go from minus, and every day it seems to move more towards Scoot. So for whatever that's worth, it doesn't mean it's right. Who knows what the smoke screen is? Doesn't mean this movement's right. I don't know. Did you find that quote, Josh?
Yeah, no, it was Woj quoting him, and now it's in the Bleacher one, and he said Miller remains the front runner to go number 2, even though Henderson had a strong workout and meeting with Hornets officials.
And that's what, like a week ago?
No,
2 days ago.
So that's Woj quoting it, to be clear. That's not the owner.
So that was Woj quoting. That was my bad. Okay. I thought it was a direct quote. It was in quotation marks when I read it, but it was Woj saying it still.
Right.
To somebody else. So I think like there's really no value in this draft until you get to 4.
I agree.
Right. And then you start to find things. I think one that I'm really liking at this point is Jarris Walker to go under, for sure. Under 6.5 is where you can get that on DraftKings. And then for him to be the 5th pick exactly what's most likely the Pistons, who wouldn't trade out of that. He's just like the most NBA ready big body that can play defense like right now. He just kind of has this like sort of Herb Jones ability already to play defense as like a rookie in the league to do for the Pellies, who's been awesome, and locking up the other team's best defender. So I think 6'7", 6'8", playing at like a forward center. There's just no way that I think he's in the top 10 for sure. And the plus 340 that you get for him to be the 5th pick exactly for a team that's already guard heavy at that point, like Cam Whitmore is someone who would fall at that point if he doesn't go to Detroit, which I think
Is
makes
he plus
sense.
340 to go 5th?
Jarris Walker is, yeah.
Can you bet that for me? Do you have Cash App?
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
I can make
I'll
that
send
happen.
it to you. Just give me 100 on it if you could.
For sure.
Who is this to go 5th?
Jarris Walker. Yeah.
Wow, that's way better odds than I'm saying.
Yeah, well,
You-
Will and I are both PA,
Get him-
right?
get him to look
They
at
don't
it,
have
right?
a lot of draft props.
They don't
which is
have it in
always-
Connecticut. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not allowed in
Oh,
Connecticut.
that's tough. That's
Yeah,
tough.
Yeah.
The draft.
It's always funny because I always seem to visit my girlfriend's family around draft time because New
Jarris
Jersey
Walker to
has
go
it.
under 6.5 is plus 135.
I like that. Yeah. Under 6.5 is great. The 5th overall pick odds plummeted. Yesterday was plus 340 on DraftKings. It's plus 190 now.
So you're telling me lies is what you just told me. That
No,
was
it
fake
plummeted, dude. I had my research done too early, I guess. Is that a thing?
news. Yeah, these do change quickly. I mean, people could watch this an hour from now and everything.
Yeah,
would
this
be
is
relevant.
plus 275 on Bovada. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Wow.
right.
He's plus 170 on FanDuel. My bad. Well, but
Yeah,
plus
I mean, I would
340
say so.
yesterday.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude.
I love how like Josh is like, I'm so
That's
sorry. Will's like, yeah, you should be. Dude. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. You're not sorry for that. What would you be
I mean,
sorry for?
you know, you didn't lose any money, so that's good.
Where do we think Lillard goes? Because before we get to that, I will say, what is Miller here to go 4th? Just as a flyer.
Miller to go 4th
Yeah.
is plus 1900 on FanDuel.
22 to 1 on offshore.
Let me just paint this scenario. Obviously, Wembanyama goes 1. Let's just say Scoot goes 2, and the market movement is real. Let's say just things get weird at 3. The Blazers have the pick. You have to you either have to trade Dame or you have to trade the pick. You have to pick an avenue. You put Dame with a rookie. You're not win now. You're not future. You have to make a decision. So is it possible you trade the 3rd pick or you do whatever? Could we see Miller possibly slip to 4th as a flyer?
I don't think
just
so.
as a long shot.
I
I
was trying to find who they would like. It's not so much about like taking a flyer, but who would it be? Like, who would you pick?
One of the Thompson twins, maybe. Who
It would
knows?
be Amin. It would honestly, it would be Amin or like
Amin, probably.
or Cam Whitmore at that point, because like
Whitmore's
that's
supposedly dropping. I saw Gavoni had him in the teens today. I mean, who knows with any of this
Yeah.
stuff?
Gavoni has him there. Sam Vecini has him, you know, as like the 5th best player.
What pick is Houston's?
4.
Like Houston, here's the thing about Miller. If
Houston could take Amin.
If he were to be, yeah, that's the most likely pick. Because here's the other thing, so just to finish the Brandon Miller point, like I don't know why someone would trade up. Like at least here's what I mean to say. I haven't heard anything about a team outside of the top 3 being so interested in the 3rd pick that they want Brandon Miller.
Right,
Especially
yeah.
assuming that Scoot goes 2nd. So I don't know that once again, maybe someone wants to trade to 3 because Charlotte takes Brandon Miller and then they want to jump up to Scoot. That would be your instance right there. I think where you go, okay, but Brandon Miller's gone 2nd then. So I don't think 4th is a good bet for him. I think the interesting thing is that Harden going to Houston has like died. It's gone.
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything about it since. Well, and that was also because Doc Rivers
Not enough strip clubs.
was
yeah.
that's one problem. Well, that's where they all are.
In
That's
Houston,
not-
that's not, yeah. I would-
Doc Rivers left, so that was
Yeah.
cool for Harden to then stay in his mind,
Yeah.
right?
That's the best part about doing the show every day with you guys is that 3 weeks ago it seemed like James Harden was a rocket, and then like you flash forward, it's like, well, he's staying in Philadelphia, but it's like things change so much, which kind of
Yeah,
so
they
funny to
do.
think about.
But if he does
hot
stay,
take. I don't really give a shit where he goes because he sucks. How about that?
Yeah,
for a hot
I'm
take?
not a huge Harden guy either. I'm just saying
it
that.
impacts the 4th pick because
Yeah.
if they got Harden, I think they would go Cam Whitmore instead of Amin Thompson. But I don't think they're doing that. So I think Amin Thompson at 4, which is minus 190. I mean, I just however you want to try to find a bet for
There's
that,
a lot
like,
of pieces that need to fall in sync with this draft, where so many guys are just available or on the block, or it's kind of.
I agree. I think there's so much uncertainty. That's why I am not just going to lay a minus price on pretty much anything. I'll just take some stabs.
Yeah.
Hey, this is 13 to 1. That's 14, whatever. Just some long shots and just, spread a couple of fractions of units on stuff and just have some fun, because I'm not going to just go chasing every piece of information. And, you don't want to trust this stuff. You don't want to not trust this stuff.
Yeah.
Like if I had to make a bet, what did you say Miller at 4 was?
plus
I think
19 to 1 on FanDuel. I think Brad
22
has
for me.
too. Yeah.
And you have 22 to 1, but that's on Bovada.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
tempting. You guys aren't into it?
I'm not.
I don't think
I'm
it'll
gonna-
happen, but
I'm gonna bet
actually
him 2. I know it's gonna be skewed at 2, but like if I want, like I'm not, like you said, it's just like you said, like I don't want to bet a minus sign.
yeah.
Like
one thing to consider is Cam Whitmore 7th is plus 340. I personally like him and what I've seen and what I watched with him playing Nova, but like for most importantly for him to go 7, like it wouldn't take that much for him to slip down past that. If basically the 5th pick is Jarris Walker, the 6th pick is Asur Thompson at that point to the Magic, which seems to make the most sense. And then you've got the Pacers sitting at 7, where Cam Whitmore would be awesome. So if he does fall down that far to plus 340, that's great. And I like the Jarris Walker under that Brad mentioned as well.
Does FanDuel DraftKings have odds to go in the top 10? Just
They
anywhere in the
should.
top 10?
Yeah.
Because I've heard this kid, I think he's from Indiana, Hood Scafino. He has a chance to sneak up. Do you guys have anyone like,
He's
oh man,
15 to 1 on that on FanDuel.
to go top 10?
Top 10 for him. Yeah.
Man,
Let me go to be drafted top 10 on DK right now.
I wish I was as plugged in.
12 to
the
1
NBA draft that was
on
NFL.
JHS.
I think we could be sitting there on Friday and be like, man, this was 12 to 1, this was 8 to 1. I think we could get some uncertainty where some long stuff cashes. I have a feeling.
Interesting. Yeah. Guys sliding into the top 10 is possible. It's just like the top like 9 to 10, there's like a pretty solid set guys that like fit the need and are the best player for the teams, like literally 1 through 10, all the way to Dallas and Indy, or Dallas and Utah, who are sitting 9 and 10, and both have the need for a big man if they don't take like a really strong guard who's available. Like if Anthony Black was available, maybe you consider taking him for Utah because they don't have any guard play yet. And if Jordan Clarkson's your point guard this season, nobody's getting better on that team. So they need somebody, but I think it's pretty solid. Like those big guys that at the end, like Taylor Hendricks, maybe Derek Lively slides in, but there's no value there. So with Hood Scafino, like, yeah, he could for sure. But at 15 to 1 on FanDuel, it might be worth a little sprinkle.
Where's Dame playing next year? Does Dame get traded before Thursday or get traded at all?
I feel like he's got to get moved to some. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of Damian Lillard, but man, he's been doing it for too long. Where he's like, oh, I want to win, but I'm not leaving trail. Like I'm not leaving Portland.
I agree.
You got eventually,
totally
Sun's
agree.
got to.
You gotta get the heck out of there.
Like
Here's the thing. Everybody wants to win. If you gave everybody a choice, winning or losing, everybody's going to choose winning. It's what do you prioritize? You can't say, hey, I'm going to stay in Portland, but I prioritize winning. You might want to win, but you're not prioritizing it. I think he just wants to be the star. He wants to have the ball all the time and score and be the man. You can't say, hey, winning's my top priority. By the way, I'm going to stay on this shit team where we never get free agents.
I always said this though. We've seen it every single year. As much as NBA is a stars league, it's you can't win with one star. Like it's just you're at the point where like you need to have a cast. Like you can't just like it's really hard just to will yourself for 82 games plus the postseason to like do it all yourself. So
where's he going? I'm just gonna say I don't buy the Miami stuff. I don't think they have enough. Hero and a couple shitty picks. I don't want Miami's picks. They're always pretty good. Hero's not enough for me if I'm Portland and I'm rebuilding.
Yeah.
I don't buy the Miami has the package to do it. Where do you guys think he ends up?
Wouldn't it be funny if he ended up in New Orleans playing with CJ again? I just think it'd be funny.
Too small. I mean,
that's why it can't
do the
happen
two
with
small
Sucks.
guards. You can't.
No, it can't. It didn't work the first time.
Yeah. That's why it can't happen. I mean, at this point, like it's the same conversation as CP3. Like, it's who needs a point guard that could reasonably structure things in a way to get it with a trade. If Drew Holiday is going to Portland at that point, that's a consideration. But like, really, the key thing is like if you're Portland right now and it's Tuesday, you have 2 days to the draft. There's no way you can draft someone third and then call with Dame like, "Yo, you pumped that we got Brandon Miller? You ready for the season?"
I agree.
You
gotta
cannot
pick a
do that.
lane.
He's
You
going to
gotta
be
pick a
like,
lane.
he's going to hang up on you. And now you've got a holdout on your hands. So I would agree that like, if you can find something for Dame to get traded in the next little bit, like there might be a couple teams that it's worth it to just sprinkle on. I don't see those odds anywhere though.
By the way, we agree on that, although the information is just completely against us. From all the reports, Dame is in the gym with these workouts. Guys working out saying, hey, like, I like this guy. I don't like that guy. Like, he's in the process.
Yeah.
But to me, it doesn't make sense. If you're going to, like, Dame's what, 32, 33, you're going to put him with a 19, 20-year-old kid. You're not ready to win now. You're not rebuilding. You're just sort of nowhere. I think you have to pick a lane, trade Dame, or trade the pick. I just don't know what team makes sense. I mean, You can sit here. I don't think Miami has the assets. I've heard the Nets. I mean, what if you're the Nets? You're going to give up all those picks. You're going to have Bridges. You're going to have Dame. All right, it's a good team.
The problem with the
Yeah.
Nets is they're not willing to trade anybody that would actually make Portland do the trade.
Yeah.
Right. You're not giving up Cam or Mikal Bridges,
Which is good. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
They have all the
Yeah.
Suns picks. They have all the Suns picks.
Yeah, but there's no player in there. I guess maybe they don't care about the player. At
They
that
wouldn't.
point.
They just want to rebuild and
That's fair.
be bad.
That would make sense for
I don't like
sure.
it for the Nets. I don't think you're good. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. That's a big problem. And I wish there was more reporting on, is there a team that gives a crap about Brandon Miller the way that like everyone seems to want Scoot? Like,
right.
I don't see that anywhere. So I wouldn't know who's shown interest in that third pick, assuming that they're getting Brandon Miller if they take it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, some of the names you see thrown out there, like because I think the hardest thing is that when it comes to Dame, it's all like speculation because there hasn't been one report that's like, oh, this team is definitely in the mix or this team or. So it really comes down to because I've heard people talk about the Timberwolves, like even the Knicks.
I mean, what would the Timberwolves? Timberwolves doesn't make any sense. The Knicks are.
I'm just saying these are the teams I've seen like articles like so that's what I'm saying. Like this is one of those things where it's all speculation because no one.
And those two teams are thrown out because they have the ability to do that. If you wanted to get rid of Cat or if you wanted to trade all of their assets from the Knicks, but like, why do my Knicks need another scoring first point guard that really doesn't D up on bigger guards?
No, you can't put him and Brunson together. And then if you're going to swap out Brunson,
we're gonna have to re-sign Brunson and extend him.
It made a lot of sense for me, especially I thought maybe the Sixers were in play.
I was just going to say Maxey,
but then with Harden maybe coming back, like that's the thing. With Harden would have to be not like, out of the equation, and then now like there's reports that he's going to come back. I was actually kind of excited for the opportunity to maybe look into Dame, but then Harden went from definitely out of there to definitely back in. So if Harden's there, obviously that is all thrown out the window. So
why do you think that?
I just don't think there's a way to pair those. I mean, I wouldn't want to have both of them. Plus,
defensively, you mean?
What are you giving up if you're getting Dame and you're keeping Harden? You're getting rid of
Maxey and whatever picks you can have.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't. And then
Maxey's an interesting
Dame, Harden,
Dame,
Harden,
and the MVP.
Yeah,
not my MVP.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Philly loves that. Like if that if that's their idea.
I don't think Philly has a pick until 2030 to trade. So if you had
they're done then. Yeah,
I mean Maxey's better than a lot of the pieces I heard. Like if I'm picking between Maxey and Tyler Hero and a bunch of Miami picks,
and I love Tyrese Maxey too.
Like
Maxey's Maxey made a huge like leap this year. Like
he's a good player.
Yeah,
Doc raved about him. Doc could not wait to stab Harden in the back. I don't know if you guys heard him on Bill. He loved Maxey.
Yeah. Well, I'll also say like you watched Maxey, especially like later in the season, he started running a lot more the PNR, doing a lot more sets where they had Harden off the court and letting Maxey kind of run the offense. And a very talented player. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out if we do, like if the Sixers do end up retaining Harden, and then I don't know what the package even look like. They could have Matt McClung straight up for Dame.
Yeah. How about Jaylen Brown for Dame?
I've seen the Celtics come up a lot, but I don't know.
That's because everybody wants to go with the Celtics.
But why wouldn't you want it for the Celtics? Like Jaylen Brown doesn't play defense. He's a foul liability, and you get a better score with Dame.
Do you think anyone's more upset than like the Celtics organization that watching Jaylen Brown in the playoffs, where everyone kind of was like, "Wow, this guy really can't handle the ball, or he really can't do this," or I feel like
I think people might be getting a little too down on him. Obviously, he has his flaws, but who knows if he's playing hurt? Yeah. And I know what you mean, though. All right, ultimately, where do we think he ends? Like, where is he this time next week?
Brown?
No, Dame.
Dame. I was like,
I'm gonna hate this answer, but I'm gonna say Portland. I don't think he should be.
Yeah,
I
can't find a trade. I can't find a trade.
We talk about Damian Lillard landing spots. I think we've talked about every year for the last 6 years. Like it's always a conversation, and it's never happened.
Yeah.
Same thing with Beal before he got traded, which he should have been traded like 2 or 3 years ago. You would actually gotten something for him instead of having to basically give him away.
Yeah.
And if you're going to tank, if you're the Wizards, tank the year Wembanyama's available.
They had to do it. Yeah. No, it was new management coming in, just being like, we have no choice. Like, do we scrap it now or do we scrap it in 2 years? What's the difference?
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say was that weird enough point. That's one point I forgot to mention earlier. Do you think maybe Dame's like in his own headspace is more comfortable leaving now that Beal's gone? Because for the longest time it was like, oh, Beal and Lillard are so loyal, and now Beal's gone, so maybe he's like, fuck that, like I can get out of here.
I don't think so. Not from what I've seen on social media from him
Yeah.
posting. I think that
Yeah.
dude's so like in his own mind, like doing his own thing. Like I don't think he was using that. As
Yeah, if you put gun to my head, Will, or like here's $100, you have to bet it. Where's Dame next week? Like I think for sure by Thursday he's still on the Blazers, and like next week might be the Blazers exploring the trades for him as best they can. I think it's gonna be kind of a messy offseason for them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think you
I
have to
can't
sync
wait.
it up though. I don't think I think it was Brad said you have to decide like the third pick and what you do with Dame. They have to go hand in hand. You can't just they're not
Yeah.
separate. You have to choose a path here, choose a direction. All right, I'll phrase it this way: what team is Dame on next year? I'll give you the Blazers or I'll give you the field.
the field.
Like
By the end of next year, or
we're talking game
by the end of
one.
next year,
Game one, where
I'm
he plays
taking-
game one.
Yeah, I'm taking
Portland.
Blazers in that. Yeah.
but by the end of the year, I'll take the field.
I will say this: I can't wait to have this discussion with you guys when the Blazers are 8-21, and it's like, where's Dame going before the trade deadline?
I was gonna say I can't wait for it to just be some like random left turn and like the Jazz make a trade for Dame Lillard or something.
The Jazz would never. Oh, yeah, I'm kidding. The Jazz.
I don't know.
And like
Yeah, we
eventually
better
you're going to
be-
run out of eventually he becomes a negative asset. That's why I think Washington had to get rid of Bradley Beal. Like eventually you're going to have to attach picks. We're not there yet with Dame. Obviously he's still a good player, but like you're
And he
talking
already
these guys
lost the
making
year.
50, 60 million dollars a year at like 35. Like, oh my God.
And last year, Bradley Beal, like his stock could only go down unless he scored 30 points a game, and it did because he didn't play very much and he had a bad season. So it's the same thing with Dame. Like, do you want to risk like him decreasing in value by next season? I agree. I just think they're sort of haphazard. But real quick, MLB.
Yes.
Before we log off, because I do have a sleeper pick for today as well.
Okay, yeah, play that sleeper.
And I like it because Ian Happ to get a hit is something that I like today, and you can actually get it a little bit better odds on sleeper. Like it's like -195 for him to get a hit on DraftKings specifically. But if you go to sleeper and choose it, I believe you get like 1.98 on or 1.68 or something. So you get like some pretty good money to add it to a parlay. Pirates, as we kind of been talking about, are on the decline and have been, and I hope no one took them at 650 to win the division when we were talking about it, because that was not a good bet. Has actually had like a 3-game here hitless streak, but he's going up against Johan Oviedo, and Oviedo, he's 6 for 13 against Oviedo in his career. He's got a couple doubles, a triple, 2 ribbies. So I like him to get out of that little funk that he's in. And then a topic for conversation, the topic du jour for our boy Brian here is Spencer Strider on the mound. 8.5 Ks. Which way do you think I'm going?
Under.
You got it. You got it. He
Under,
got
right?
9 against the Phils in their prior meeting. I don't care. And I love the way the Phils are playing right now. I mean, I hate them, but yeah, I love the way they're playing. And they are hitting super well. They only got they won 3-2 in back-to-back games against the A's, which is like whatever. I mean, the A's are one of the best teams in baseball, apparently. So it was good wins for them. But yeah, that 8-game win streak for them and the way that those guys are hitting. A couple of them have some poor numbers, especially at the top of the lineup, poor numbers against Strider. But I'm liking like Brian Stott to be fine. Real Muto has some bad numbers, but he's actually been a lot better in the last week or so. And then Harper and Trey Turner as well. Some pretty bad performances in the past against him, but like this is like their 4th time playing against him. So I think they can find something against him tonight.
Yeah, and you mentioned that. I'm even looking where I'm trying to take my Homer fandom out of it. Where the Phillies for the first 5, it's -120 for Phillies to score 2 runs in the first 5 innings. And I know it's Spencer Strider, but as we said last week on the show, he's not really looked like Spencer Strider. So that's also tempting for me to get 1.5 for them.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's something real with Strider where it's like his arm or whatever, or it's just, hey, it's a long season. Everyone's going to have back-to-back starts where they just don't look great. So it's hard to say. But I did play the Braves. I think it's -145 on the money line. And I'll probably play under some form of the Yankees game. Yankees just can't score without Judge. So under, I think the 7.5s are gone. So maybe play just under 7, maybe under team total, though. Starting to adjust it. It's 3.5 now. Yankees just without Judge are a nightmare.
Yep.
Just offensively. Boy, I know it's -450. There's no way Ohtani's not winning the MVP. Is that correct?
Yeah, no way.
Barring an injury.
Barring an injury, like
Is
it's
it 24 now for homers?
Skyrocketed,
3 ERA. I mean, it's
wasn't it like -190 like 2 weeks ago? We were talking
the
about
night of the finals. I bet at -178. I was like, you know what? He just hit a home run. I was like, you know what? This is the last best price you're going to get. And even -200, like you're at the point now where even if he makes it like middle of August, he might still win it because Judge is hurt, Alvarez is hurt. Like there's nobody to steal the award from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need him to not get traded to the NL. What about
They're
most
too
home
good
runs?
though. They're like 7, 8 games over.
Yeah,
So I
that's true.
don't think you have to worry about that.
That's true,
That
yeah.
is a concern.
What about his him most home runs? Do you
What
still
is
like that
it?
market potentially?
4-1, 5-1. I would probably need a little more.
A little more than that. Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
fair.
that would be. Could you imagine how unfortunate that'd be? Like, I know he was just saying he won't get traded to NL. Could you imagine if he didn't get the MVP last year and then the Angels screw him by not getting it this year? That'd be like the most tragic thing I think I've ever seen. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, it'd be tragic for my bets because he's going to win. But they're what, 7, 8 games over 500?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just like, that would be
they're in
like
good
the
shape.
ultimate. Like, some teams like, hey, thank you for everything you've done with us. That'd be the ultimate. All right, get the hell out of here. Screw this guy. Like,
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, they
There's
took
gonna be
over the
some
struggling
good teams.
Astros.
There's going to be some good teams that missed the playoffs in the American League because you look, Central has to have a team, but other than that, the AL East is loaded. The AL West is deep. You can only get 6 of them in. I mean, somebody
The
good is
AL
going to
West,
miss
man.
it.
Yeah, the AL West, those Rangers are nice. Shout out Eli, who's been saying that to us all year. The Rangers are legit, man.
Yeah, they are. Even without DeGrom, it's too bad they couldn't have DeGrom.
the garbage.
All right, boys, we covered a lot. We'll be back tomorrow. Probably do more draft, more NBA offseason, more baseball. So good luck with all your plays. Thank you to Pickett Sports. Thank you to Sleeper Picks. And we'll see you tomorrow.